Are these on? Oh. Hello, welcome. We have Arlen Glick in the studio, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Hi, Arlen.
Hi.
How'd it go out there?
It was awesome.
I don't know if
all
I'm
250
convinced.
miles of awesome.
Say it again. How awesome was it?
Yeah, it was great. I guess it would vary a lot depending on which part of it you're talking about.
That's a fair answer.
I basically had 2 good days and 1 bad day. So day 1 was awesome. Day 2 was horrible. And day 3 was awesome again. So that's kind of how it went.
That's good though. Like it came back up.
Yeah, it's like the criticism sandwich right there.
I definitely ended on a positive note, so that was
Good.
fun.
Good.
That's awesome.
Okay, so I think we have heard before day 2 can be rough. What made day 2 particularly, quote, horrible for you?
Yeah, I'm still not exactly sure what went wrong, because I've been out here training, and like my favorite part of the course was like from Dead Horse to like Sedona, through the Sedona area. And so I was looking forward to that part of the course the whole time. But when I got there, it was just off. Something was off. I was overheating and all the things that I never have trouble with. So yeah, that was the bad part.
Yeah, and how did you troubleshoot that?
You know, a lot of it is the timing, the sleep thing, because like you just get really sleepy, and until you get that reset, you just kind of keep fighting through it. But I knew I didn't have opportunity for an actual good nap, except like where there's crew access. So I had to wait all the way until like the Schnebley Hill Aid Station, which is like mile 178 or something. So once I got there, I took a really good nap. I think it was like 40 minutes. Like,
Nice.
yeah. And then I got up and I felt amazing. I told my pacer like 190 miles in, I feel like I just got out of bed and had 0 miles on the legs. I literally had no fatigue or muscle soreness or anything going into day 3. But unfortunately there was, I don't know, probably a 3 or 4 hour gap that I was trying to close, and that proved to be impossible.
We were wondering if those speedy legs were going to pop up at that finish, that downhill from Eldon, just clear out with the road and kind of some clear trail. But you were close. We were rooting for you in the studio.
It was a real nail biter.
It was. But so was it just the one nap, or did you get in a few more? Everyone's curious about the nap schedules.
Yeah, so I slept the first night at, let me think, is it Fain Ranch? I think it's Fain Ranch. I slept for 20 minutes and then 15 minutes. So I had my crew wake me up 20 minutes in, and then I said, give me another 15. But yeah, I think that was probably the key to success, was like nailing the sleep thing, because that was a first time for me to sleep mid-race. And it proved to be, crucial and beneficial, because like I had very good legs and running times every time after that. So like I definitely learned that, that as I was told, that's definitely nailing the sleep is definitely the key. Because when you look at the bigger picture of a 61-hour race, I spent an hour and a half sleeping, but it made, a huge difference. So like cut so many hours off of my time by running well after the sleep.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to nail that.
Did you do anything else special around that? Were you changing your clothes before you went to sleep, or changing your shoes, eating food? Like, what did that routine look like that helped you get down fast too, and not just waste time laying there thinking about sleeping?
Yeah, I fall asleep really easy, so that helps a lot. I always tried to eat something before and after, that way I could kind of settle in while I'm sleeping. But if you know me well, you know I can eat anything, anytime, anywhere. Like,
we got some good footage of you up at the Mount Eldon Aid Station. We heard from Corinne that you got to try a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think when I got up there, I realized that I had chased all day for something that I wasn't going to catch, and it was just a very gut puncher when I got up to the top of Eldon. So I decided to celebrate by eating a bunch of food up there. So that's the way I handled my grief up there on Eldon, was
It's well
to just
deserved.
eat a bunch of food and and then make my way down Eldon.
It's perfect. It's perfect. And then I saw a video. Your family surprised you on course. Your parents were out there. What was that like?
Yeah, that was quite a surprise to roll into Sedona and see my mom and dad there. I thought they were in
surprise.
Ohio.
Wow.
Did you think you were like maybe hallucinating a little?
Unfortunately, I have never experienced a hallucination, and
Unfortunately.
I was so hoping that would happen in a 250-mile race, but apparently I am not capable of hallucinations. In fact, I wanted it so bad, I actually tried to fake one with my pacer.
Can you pretend to look like Sasquatch in the distance?
Yeah, I told my pacer, I'm like, I forget what it was something like, do you see that fat lady sitting on that rock over there? And like, he's like, yeah. And he like totally didn't buy it. Like, he knew I was faking it.
Oh,
It was
bummer.
so disappointing.
Well,
So
guess you'll have
we're
to
gonna
come back
need
next year and try to hallucinate again,
or a
right?
Yeah.
longer race.
Yeah.
We'll have to think of something
Cocodona
creative.
250 out and back. That
there,
should
like,
get you hallucinating.
200-mile
yeah.
stage race.
The Cocodona 500. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Maybe
does
we'll get a
registration
hallucination
open?
out
Did
of
you hear
that.
that, Jamil? Open that registration. Arlen's ready to sign up.
So what shoes were you wearing?
I wore a combination of a lot of different models, which is highly recommended. I think, like, I had to switch through several, like, obviously, if you want to preserve and keep the blistering at bay. And I was surprised at how well my feet held up. I mean, I have some pretty whopper blisters under there, but like, all things considered, as much as those feet have been through. I started out in the Craft Explorer, and those worked really well for the first 37. And if you're patient, I'll walk you through. Then I switched into the Nordlight Ultra for that next section, and that worked really well just to get fresh shoes on, something different. And then I switched into the Pacer through Prescott area, and those were really good for all the road running in Prescott. And then at some point I had to do some surgery to the shoe because I was getting, something was flaring up. So I just like cut part of it out so that it wouldn't like rub against that area. A brilliant move.
Nice.
And then I switched back into the Explorer at some point, and I ended up finishing. Yeah, I ran the whole last 90 miles with those, so that worked really well.
That's a lot of shoes. Like, I'm impressed that your crew can keep your shoes straight and like show up at the right aid station at the right time with the right shoes.
Yeah, we had sort of a plan A, and I showed them like where I think I'm going to need shoes and which ones, but then we were always adjusting during. I found it like super helpful since you obviously have to take your phone with you. I decided to use that as strategy. So I would often, like, either my crew would call me or I would call them before I'm coming into an aid station and just like do the whole rundown of what I'm going to need, what to have ready when I get there. And that proved to be very efficient so that we weren't like trying to figure things out. We all kind of knew what was going on when we got there.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. It is a bummer when you hit pockets with no service and you can't make that communication happen, but I think the service is decent.
I would say probably 240 miles of the course has cell service, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that wasn't a big factor, which a lot of races are a little bit too remote for that. And I guess, come to think of it, like where you don't have cell service is like through the Bradshaw Mountains in the first 37, but there's no crew access there anyway.
Yeah.
So who needs to? Other than I did note, like my Lecky poles, the one was the strap was tearing apart, and so I was trying to find cell service to tell my crew that, like, hey, if you can round up a pair of Lecky the straps, like I need a pair of these. They're about to tear.
Oh shoot! Did they find a pair?
They did.
Oh,
Apparently,
nice.
somebody out there didn't have Lecky poles. This is going to sound so absurd, but they won like a backpack full of gear, and it was random gear. And one of the pieces of gear in that was like the Lecky. What do you call it?
The little shark strap thing.
The shark straps.
Yeah.
Okay. So
know if
apparently
that's
there was a pair of those in this backpack that they didn't even have a pair of poles for. And they're like, you can just have these. It was
That's the
lucky.
trail community right
Yeah,
there.
that's the
like,
trail
magic.
community.
Someone's looking out for you.
Magic.
Cool.
Okay, so but back to the shoes real quick. Would you say that the shoes that you're wearing are more of like a cushion shoe, or do you like to feel the grip of the trail under your feet? Like, can you tell me about the foot feel that you were going for, at least like in the last 21 miles, where it sounds like you rotated back into a favorite pair?
Yeah, so the Explorer, it's one that Kraft just recently released. And I would say it's definitely my favorite model. It's what they call like their road to trail shoe, which is kind of what their specialty is, like this shoe that's like good for kind of works on everything, because like you run this far, obviously you're running on everything imaginable. And I prefer a cushiony shoe, like one that has a lot of cushion. I know some people like the more natural, the firm feel, but I personally just like to have a lot of cushion there. And so, yeah, I guess I did start in the Explorer and I finished in the Explorer, which, yeah, I definitely would not do anything different as far as shoe choice goes, if I were to go back and redo it again.
Cool. Most valuable shoe, the Explorer.
I feel like you want a little cushion with 250 miles.
Yeah, I feel like pain management is like such a big thing, because like there's such a fine line. I mean, I feel like I reached a whole new level of being able to get through pain at Cocodona here, but I also like there's so many things that if you can avoid it until later on, like I think my foot situation was like pretty good and I really took care of my feet for day 1, and then it was like pretty painful for day 2, and then till day 3 come along, I was like so in race mode that I'm pretty sure my feet just went numb, because they didn't hurt at all hardly for day 3. So I think I just nailed it when it come to foot care and the whole pain management thing. Because they hurt very bad when I woke up this morning.
Yeah, it's crazy what you can push away when you're chasing after a big goal.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you had a plan coming into this race and you crushed the course record, but so did 2 other people. Like, what happens when you're in that scenario? Like, you are chasing so hard, but then you have these other people that are just like, who would think to plan to break a course record by 10 hours? Like, what do you do in that scenario? Like, did you plan on running 60 hours knowing that the previous record was 69?
Yeah, so I knew the previous record was 69. I thought, as along with a lot of others, it was going to take a course record to win. I had no idea what kind of time that would be. Like, time was out of my head. I was there for the race. And so I was perfectly cool with guys being a couple hours up. Like, it's going to pay off in the end. We're back and forth. There's going to be a lot of movement. But yeah, it did become a thing of where I was chasing so hard, but it was just so hard to make up for the whole like 18 hours that was bad. Like, I had such a big low spell that when it come down to it, like I was pushing so hard to try to catch the leaders, but eventually I just simply ran out of road.
Right, like you have to take care of yourself and race your own race to some extent. And then it was just like we woke up and heard that Jeff snuck into first over a nap, and then like just what happened to Mika and the podium, the entire race. Like, you would never expect so many things to be shaken up in a 250-mile race, like so many unexpected turns.
I think that's what makes this distance so fun to spectate too. It's just anything can happen at any point.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's bound to have like some rough spells. And for me, I just did not expect it to be the entirety of day 2, like from about noon to 3 a.m. because I took my nap between 2 and 3 a.m. And then I was on just full on charge mode from 3 a.m. until I got to the top of Eldon and realized what I had chased from 3 a.m. till about 4 p.m. had just slipped right out of my fingers, like, and it was dangling right in front of me for a full day.
Do you think if you slept earlier on day 2, you could have started chasing sooner, or is there anything there that you...
Yeah, I think in theory I could have, and I think it would have worked better. But my problem is I would have had to sleep in Sedona, and I don't think I was tired enough in Sedona to actually benefit, and there's no way I could have slept between. I mean, I took a couple dirt naps between Sedona and Schnebly Hill, but to actually get the full effect of getting in, and I had my crew like warm up my Jeep and get it like 110 degrees in there and get it all prepped and ready for me. And so when I did decide to sleep, I was like out in 2 seconds, and like I warmed up, and I got so many benefits from that sleep, and that's just not possible during that section. And I was like, yeah, in theory, if I could have slept at more like midnight instead of 2 a.m., it would have made the difference, because I wasted like so much time struggling along. But you don't have, on the course, you don't have what you need everywhere. You only have it so you just have to make the best that you can with it. So I'm not sure that I would do anything different with the situation, but yeah, if I could have planned crew access at, Schnebly Hill Road where the water station is, rather than where the actual aid station is, where I had crew access, like, yeah, that would have been key, but that's just not something I had to work with.
Right. You really have to work with the setup of the course and where the aid stations are when coordinating sleep, unless you really love dirt naps.
Yeah, and I was so excited to see if the dirt nap thing was going to work. I found it works pretty well because it doesn't take you any time to unwind. So when you're like falling asleep while running or walking, I found out I can actually sleep for an extended period of time while walking. Like I was walking up Schnebly Hill Road, and I just would like wake up every time I like started getting off the edge of the road, and my pacer was having so much fun with it. And I finally told him, I'm like, just like make sure my eyes are open if I like am about to walk into something. But it was rather unproductive though. And the dirt naps, I didn't find them to reset me like I was hoping they would. When I did take the dirt naps, I woke up consistently once every minute. So it was pretty cool though. Like it was an experience I never had before. But literally every minute I would wake up and I was like, where am I? Oh, that's right. I'm running Cocodona. And then I would be like, okay, it's only been 1 minute. So I would just like fall, and I could fall asleep ready. But then 1 minute later I would wake up and I would be like, oh, what am I doing? Oh, I'm running Cocodona. And it just like was this vicious cycle. And I got some relief, but it's still like, it didn't reset me. Like when I took that 20-minute nap or that 40-minute nap, it was like a new day after that. So anyway, I learned a lot, but like, I can't be mad. I think I did, for being a first 200, I think I kind of nailed it. So I'm pretty excited about that. I obviously wished so bad that what I had chased for all day long and like ran just like a stupidly fast pace. I wish we could have got a better outcome from it, but sometimes you have to enjoy the process and not the outcome.
Yeah, and it sounded like you really trusted your process along this journey too, and that's got to feel good, getting to the finish line, knowing you ran your race, you did your, like, you stayed true to you out there.
Yeah, it was. I went in, and I mean, it went, as absurd as it may sound to have a plan going into something with this many unknowns, I did go in with a ton of confidence, and I came out with even more confidence. I think everything I could have planned for, went to plan as according to plan. And yeah, like it was a great experience overall. Very positive thoughts towards what all happened out there.
That's great.
And I mean, let's not sell it short. Like you're saying that you did a 200. You did a 250-mile race.
Yeah.
Hey,
like, don't forget that was 50.
Good point. I was telling them if it would have been a 200-mile race, it would have been horrible, because I had a terrible second day.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have had those last 50 miles to really shine and show what I was capable of doing, running, like some of the sections I ran so crazy fast, like I trained like out here on course. I ran the sections like way faster on race day than I did when I was training those sections. Like, and if I wouldn't have had the opportunity to have that Tuesday night, well, Wednesday morning technically, from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. to reset, and that was like around mile 178. if it would have been 200 miles, it would have been a horrible race because it would have caught me right at the end at my low point instead of like giving me that third day to like come back alive and take another shot at it.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question for you. I watched you at Desert Solstice in 2022, and that was your first foray at the 24-hour mark, if I believe. And I have a feeling you learned some things from that experience. Was there anything that you learned from Desert Solstice 2022 that you were able to bring into Cocodona this year?
I would say that it is so different. I wouldn't give Desert Solstice any credit towards Cocodona, surprisingly. When you're running on a track, you kind of have to keep in motion. And when you kill that motion, you die, like you're done. I think when you're out on a track. Where in a trail race, it is just completely different. Like the body is so used to the changes. I would have a hard time even like comparing or giving one credit to the other because it's just completely different circumstances to work with. Like I say, once the body shuts down on the flat, you're done. But like in the mountains, things just keep moving around and like your pace and everything keeps shifting. And so like that's one of the things that kind of keeps you going is just the inconsistency.
Yeah, the variety. That makes sense. I think from what I remember, you could kind of watch your shutdown on the track. You started putting on more layers and I mean, just a totally different beast, I guess. And
like once I tried to like correct it when I was on the track at Desert Solstice at like mile 120 or something. And I think I was like 18 hours in and I sat down and tried to fix the problem. Well, then the legs seized up and like I just couldn't get the legs moving again. Where I feel like at Cocodona, like you spend enough time hiking that like the legs are just like used to the variability there, which just changes the dynamics completely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You did amazing, and let's not sell this short. You still have an 8-hour course record.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. You're so kind. And I am like, I came here not to run a fast time. I came here to race. Like when I signed up and looked at the entrance, I was just like, what could I possibly want more than this? Like every name that I could want on the list was there. And I was so excited to race like the best of all times in 200 milers and a bunch of dark horses. And like everything I could have wanted was at the start line. And that, to me, it wasn't like about seeing how fast I could run. It was about racing these guys. And, unfortunately I had a really bad day. I really wanted to win this thing. And I think if my bad spell was just a couple hours less on day 2, I could have got that sweet revenge at the end. But, unfortunately that did not work out the way I had hoped it would. But like the process was so just inspiring, going through such a low spell, but then like just having such an awesome third day of the race. So anyway, I guess apparently you can have a whole bad like day and still throw down a really quick time. So.
Yeah. It's I don't know, something a little forgiving about the trail. It allows room for play, and I think we're able to see the different personalities of these runners shine, because it's all about like, okay, how long does your bad day last? How do you come back from it? And everybody's just going along.
Because like to compare my race with Harry's, like like I passed him in Prescott, just after Whiskey Row, and like he seemed to be struggling a lot. But then he passed me after Dead Horse through Sedona on day 2. And then like it was just like we had our downs. Like he was feeling a lot better there. I was feeling a lot worse before. Then I was feeling amazing on day 3, and he was struggling. And like it just like was such a shift. But yeah, it just makes these multi-day events just make the race so dynamic.
Yes, dynamic. That's a great word for it. What did those passes look like? Were you kind of cheering for each other? When you passed somebody, did you be like, inside and
Um,
not look back?
No, I try not to get excited when I pass people, or when people pass me, I don't let it get to my head because I know that there's a lot of race left. So I just try not to pay attention to it. It's like, big deal. You know, if he passes me, big deal. Like, there's still 100 miles left. And that's when I got to Sedona and it was like struggling pretty bad. That was the little glimmer of hope that I had, was like, okay, I can run 100 miles well. Okay, I've proved that in the past. I still have 90 miles to figure this out. And so that was like my little thing. I was like, yeah, it's looking pretty bad right now, but who knows? Like, 90 miles is a long way to figure this thing out. So
A lot can happen in 90 miles. A lot did happen in 90 miles.
yeah, I didn't realize that the last 90 was going to, or more like the last 70 was going to be like the most amazing 70 miles of my life.
That's so
Who
cool
would
to
expect
hear.
that?
Yeah.
That's awesome. One question I think I have to ask, because people were really curious watching the trackers. I don't know what day it is. Maybe yesterday night. It looked like you were sharing some miles with Michael Versteeg. Did you have any chats with him? Because we were all wondering what on earth you guys could possibly be talking about.
Oh, it was so cool. Yeah. So I hadn't met Michael Versteeg officially until mile 60 of Cocodona. So we came into, what's that aid station, the name of that one? Camp Kippa.
Camp Kippa, 62.
I came into Camp Kippa right as he was leaving. And then I caught up to him shortly after that. And so we just I'm like, there's a lot of race left. Like, I just got to meet this guy. Like, let's just share some miles together. And it was amazing. We had some great conversations, as we both got to talking about how much we didn't have in common, but yet the one thing that we do is neither of us have social media. And that was okay. But we just had the most interesting conversation. He said he thought that I was the most interesting guy in the race. And I said, I thought you were the most interesting guy in the race. So it was yeah, we had a great time. And we actually were back and forth a lot. Through the Granite Dells, he was going backwards on chorus a little bit, because I think he left his tracker at the previous aid station, and I'm not sure actually whatever happened. That was I just come up on him and he was going backwards, and I'm like, what's up, Michael? And he's like, I don't know, I'm trying to call Steve right now and figure out what to do with this. And anyway, so we ended up, we were back and forth quite a bit, and we had some really cool conversation while we were out there. We actually spent a lot of miles running together.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
There were so many questions coming in. It was great.
So you guys didn't take any selfies together while you were out there?
Just
kidding.
No, I don't think we were doing that, but you never know.
Well, if you don't do social media, that's great. You're probably mentally healthier than most. But just so you know, everyone's asking for Glick pics. So I just had to bring that up at some point. They just want pictures of you.
Yeah. So I claim to not have social media.
You have a Strava. I saw it.
I must confess. So I just basically won't admit that Strava is social media.
No.
But my one issue is Garmin has been trying for 24 hours now to upload this file. And it is so big, apparently it is just not being able to upload. So I do have some pictures that I'll put out there sometime on
Did you
Strava.
hear that, chat? All of you watching, there's 1,000 people watching right now, so I'm sure they'll be waiting.
So whenever
patiently.
Garmin can get this 250 miles uploaded, I'll put some pictures. We do have some really cool pictures. I had Jenny Quilty was here to pace someone else, and then unfortunately her runner DNF'd way early, and she messaged me just as I was coming into Jerome and said, hey, I am out of pacing duty. Do you need a pacer? And I'm like, I'm actually really short on pacers. I had Lee Yoder planned for the last 90 miles, which is a big section. But if you want to jump in anytime before that, go for it. So she jumped in, and then her partner was able to get some really good photos too. So that's really exciting.
So if somebody were to open a Glick Picks fan account, would you be opposed?
They'll just like send you the funds that they raised through it.
Oh,
We won't do it.
It's okay.
yeah. I feel like if someone can get rich off of me, more power to them. Like, I wouldn't care.
They could
What do
raise
they say in the chat?
$1,600 and sign you up for next year's Cocodona 250.
Hey,
That's an idea.
yeah,
What
maybe
are you
we could just
thinking?
raise the maybe we could just raise the funds for next year. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you thinking about doing it again?
You know, when I got to the finish line, I think somebody said they would never do it again, and I was like, that is completely out of my vocabulary. Like,
Right.
I want to do it so bad. It's just like, till next year, who knows what I'll be thinking. But right now, I'm like, there's like no negative thoughts about it. So I would say real good chance you'll see me back. I don't know if I can for sure make it work next year, but totally, I will be back.
I mean, I just pulled up your Ultra sign up, and it looks like you're already registered for the Cocodona 500 next year.
Oh, okay. That was quick. Yeah. Okay. So it's either Cocodona 250, or if they can muster a 500, then we're in for the Cocodona 500.
I like it. I'm not running it. I'll pace you for like 20 miles.
That's all you're gonna give him.
Maybe 40. I don't know. I did 100. Didn't go well. So I can't commit to pacing someone for 100 miles.
You could break it up, and you'd be fine.
We'll see what happens. So what's next on the schedule? Are you going to eat dinner, take a nap,
Yeah.
go run?
I think we'll save the shakeout run for another day.
Like another week?
Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna go over to the finish line and hang out for a little bit and say hi and whatever, and then probably go back to bed and get another night of sleep.
No one blames you for that. I think we have 6th female coming in shortly.
Oh.
They're still
nice.
trickling in. Carrie Henderson finished 5th male female. She was on the camera. Next we have Eliza LaPierre. So she should be coming in sometime in the next couple hours.
Where's Joe Corcione hanging at right now?
Huh. That's exciting. We got to actually spend some miles together early on, so that'd be really cool. Hopefully he'll be coming through when I happen to be at the finish line.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We could schedule that. He's
yeah.
get him to move a little quicker. No, he's doing great. He's at mile 240.1, so top of Eldon right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Is it
cool.
still light out? It's still light out. It's not after dark yet. An aid? Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
You could go pace him in if you wanted to.
Oh, I should run the last mile with him.
And
He's
side
tempted.
note, your teammate Manuela got second. So
Yeah, that was so
Craft.
exciting for me. Manu messaged me a few weeks ago and was like, "Guess what, Arlen? I'm running Cocodona too." I'm like,
surprise.
wow, that's really cool. So yeah, and it's amazing. She did so awesome out there.
Yeah.
Crushers.
Be
Craft
curious to
crushers.
see if she was rocking the Explorer shoes
Yeah.
too.
We might get her in the studio too. Oh, we should have planned it better. Could have had you both in here.
Oh.
That's okay.
Meh.
Yeah, that would have been fun to do. An
You can
interview
come back
here.
with her later.
Yeah.
We'll be here.
You
We'll
can
be here
hang
for a
out
couple
for
days.
as long as you want. Float it in the fridge.
Yeah. Have you tried to float it yet?
I
Was he,
tried
like,
one.
familiar?
Yeah, I did. I tried one of those after Hard Rock. So yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, what's next? Race-wise. Thinking about it yet?
I decided not to really plan anything after this. So.
I like it. Just like enjoy what just happened. Like find some happiness. Enjoy
Yeah.
like, what you just did because it's amazing.
It does take a little while for your nervous system to come back after one of these efforts. So it's nice that you don't feel like you have to rush back into training for something big right now.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how the body was going to act after this. So like,
That sounds smart.
just going to
Very
take
smart.
wait
to the
until
beach.
something inspires me again.
Do you have a
Sounds
coach,
good.
Arlen?
So some people say I am self-coached. I would say I am uncoached.
Okay, so
It's working. Oh, we got a shot at AJW. He missed out on this interview.
and a mess
Look
of
at him
food.
eat those meats. Oh my god. Anywho.
he is just scarfing that down.
He was on camera for like 12 hours today, so I don't blame him.
Did he run up to that aid station?
Is that, yeah, that's what I'm
I
gonna
hope
ask.
he did. He had to earn his meat. He can't just drive up there.
I wonder.
So are you sticking around Flagstaff for a while?
I think I'll probably head home sometime tomorrow. I'm staying in a pull-behind camper, so whenever we get things backed up,
Good road trip.
Yeah, it's nice to have a flexible departure time.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably what, like a 20-hour drive?
So according to Google Maps, it's a 30-hour drive.
Oh,
But it takes more like 40 hours when you're
Yeah.
pulling a camper.
yeah. Well, you can pull over and take some naps. Stretch
I
the
mean, yeah,
legs
I
out.
just got done running for 61 hours. So, like, what's a 40-hour drive? Like, that's nothing.
I hope
Yeah.
it's not windy for you. Pulling a camper with wind makes me so
Yeah.
nervous.
Well, going east is better than going west because, like, going east, usually you have a tailwind, which is a little better. But
Yeah.
yeah. Let's hope the weather is favorable.
Yeah.
Hopefully no freak snowstorms. I don't know. It's May. We're Arizona.
Yeah, I was just talking to a friend in Montana. He said they have snow on the ground again, too. So, I mean, you never know in these mountain towns.
Yep.
Sweet. Well, it was awesome having you on. You're
All right.
welcome back anytime. We'll be here for 2 days. I don't know. 3 more days.
Yeah, thanks for coming me. It's fun to catch
Yeah.
up after the race.
Great
Yeah.
chatting. Happy recovery. Thanks for coming in and making time.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, Arlen. Huge
Yep, goodbye.
congratulations.